It was a bright and sunny day in the small village of Cana, nestled in the rolling hills of Galilee. The air was filled with the scent of blooming flowers and the cheerful chirping of birds. But today, there was something extra special in the air. A sense of excitement and anticipation. The entire village was buzzing because a grand wedding was about to take place. Amidst this festive atmosphere, young Sarah and her brother Joshua raced down the cobblestone streets, their faces beaming with joy. "Hurry up, Joshua. We don't want to miss anything," Sarah called out, her voice ringing with excitement. Joshua, always the curious one, was just as eager. "Do you think Jesus will really come?" Mama said he might. Their mother, Miriam, had told them that Jesus, a man known for his miraculous deeds, was invited to the wedding along with his mother, Mary. The children had heard stories about him and were eager to see him in person. As they arrived at the grand courtyard, the wedding venue was a sight to behold. Colorful banners fluttered in the wind, tables were laden with delicious food, and laughter filled the air. As the guests began to arrive, the bride and groom, Hannah and Nathan, stood at the entrance, greeting everyone with warm smiles. The children's eyes sparkled with delight when they spotted Jesus and his disciples walking into the courtyard. Mary was right beside him, her face radiating kindness and grace. "Look, there he is," whispered Sarah, nudging Joshua. The children watched in awe as Jesus greeted the hosts and mingled with the guests. His presence seemed to bring an extra layer of joy and peace to the celebration. As the festivities continued, the children couldn't help but sneak glances at Jesus. He seemed so ordinary yet extraordinary at the same time. There was a sense of something magical about him, something that made the children feel like they were in the presence of someone very special. Just as the celebration was in full swing, Miriam, Sarah, and Joshua's mother noticed a worried look on the face of the head steward. He was whispering urgently to the servants, and there was a hint of panic in his eyes. "What's wrong, Mama?" asked Joshua, always quick to notice when something was amiss. Miriam glanced around and then whispered back, "I think they're running out of wine." "That's a big problem at a wedding like this. It's very embarrassing for the hosts." Sarah's eyes widened. "Oh no, what will they do?" Meanwhile, Mary noticed the commotion as well and went straight to Jesus. "They have no more wine," she said quietly, her eyes full of concern. Jesus looked at her and replied, "Dear woman, why do you involve me? My time has not yet come." But Mary, with the wisdom of a loving mother, simply turned to the servants and said, "Do whatever he tells you." The servants, although puzzled, nodded in agreement. Jesus then instructed them to fill 6 large stone water jars with water. Each jar could hold about 20 to 30 gallons. The servants hurried to obey, their hearts pounding with a mix of curiosity and hope. The children watched intently, their excitement growing with each passing moment. "What do you think he's going to do?" whispered Joshua, his eyes wide with anticipation. Sarah shook her head, equally mystified. "I don't know, but I have a feeling it's going to be amazing." When the jars were filled to the brim, Jesus said to the servants, "Now, draw some out and take it to the master of the banquet." The servants did as they were told, though they couldn't help but exchange puzzled glances. Water. To the master of the banquet? What was going on? As the master of the banquet took a sip from the cup, his eyes widened in astonishment. He immediately called the bridegroom over. "Everyone brings out the choice wine first, and then the cheaper wine after the guests have had too much to drink. But you have saved the best till now." The guests, hearing the master's words, began to murmur in surprise. How could this be? They knew the wine had run out. But as the word spread, Everyone started to taste the wine, and to their amazement, it was the finest they had ever had. The children were ecstatic. "He did it. He made a miracle," Joshua exclaimed, jumping up and down. Sarah's face lit up with joy. "Jesus turned the water into wine. How wonderful!" The bride and groom, overwhelmed with gratitude, thanked Jesus profusely. The atmosphere of the wedding transformed from one of worry to one of overwhelming joy and celebration. The guests danced and laughed, the music grew louder, and the feast continued with renewed vigor. As the celebration went on, Jesus took a moment to sit with the children. Sarah and Joshua couldn't contain their excitement. "How did you do it, Jesus? How did you turn the water into wine?" Joshua asked, his eyes wide with wonder. Jesus smiled gently. Sometimes, all it takes is a little faith and willingness to believe in something greater than ourselves. When we trust and have faith, miracles can happen. Sarah looked thoughtful. "So, you mean we should always believe and trust, even when things seem impossible?" Jesus nodded. "Exactly. Sarah, faith is a powerful thing. It can move mountains and change lives." The children's hearts swelled with the warmth of his words. They felt a deep sense of peace and understanding, knowing that with faith, anything was possible. The wedding feast continued late into the night. The moon shone brightly in the sky, casting a magical glow over the courtyard. The guests danced and sang, celebrating not only the union of the bride and groom, but also the miraculous event they had witnessed. As the stars twinkled above, Sarah and Joshua sat with their family, feeling grateful for the unforgettable day. Miriam looked at her children and smiled. "Remember this day, my loves. Remember the miracle and the lesson of faith that Jesus taught us." And so, the miracle at Cana became a story that the villagers would tell for generations to come. It was a story of faith, of trust, and of the wondrous things that can happen when we believe. As the village of Cana settled back into its peaceful rhythm, the memory of the wedding and the miracle that took place there lingered in the hearts of all who were present. The children, Sarah and Joshua, grew up carrying the lessons of that day with them, always remembering to have faith and trust in the power of miracles. And so, the story of the miracle at Cana continued to inspire and captivate, reminding everyone that with a little faith and a lot of love, anything is possible.